Ladies and gentlemen, is Pakistan cricket dead? We're just discussing whether this was a debate or a statement, an accepted fact. I have with me Omer Zulfikar Ali and Sheikh. We're going to be discussing this, whether it's an obituary or whether there's hope still. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
On this somber moment, while we are here, gathered here, to remember this cricket team that was a great cricket team, right?
Remember this cricket team.
but all jokes aside, what's happening with Pakistan cricket, dude?
It wasn't a great cricket team, first of all.
Come on, man. We've seen iconic moments. Like, are we talking about the present group? Okay.
Like the last crop.
Yeah, I was talking about the legacy and stuff.
Okay, sure.
But you're right. Let's talk about these boys in green currently.
I think going back to how you started off the conversation, asking is Pakistan cricket dead? I think it's not a matter of yes or no. It's just a matter of maybe to what extent, right?
Degrees of dead.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta, I think, further define death.
Yeah. like how they have
severe comatose.
Yeah. You know how you have 6 degrees of separation? I think there might be 6 degrees of death.
Yeah. Or as Dante put it, the 7 levels of hell, the 6 levels of circles of hell. Exactly. So I think that's where it is. It's beyond death. It's now we're suffering in hell.
It'd be great if you could superimpose that painting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Dante's painting and then. So where are we, dude?
Yeah. So all right, and just circling back to that, the current state. Is that what we?
Absolutely. Let's look at the current team, the selection, the management, the leadership.
Yeah.
What do you think? And I want to start off with general questions. And I've got a lot of some more specific ones. But in your opinion, just generally, what is it that you feel is what's going on wrong with Pakistan cricket?
So
corruption.
Yeah, I think that's really.
Right, in a nutshell. So I don't know. So I'm a hardcore fan. Both Shamir and I have been playing club cricket. We play on the same team, as a matter of fact.
Oh wow!
We call ourselves Disco 11. But anyways,
the dance of the electricity distributors.
Dance.
Sorry.
Dance.
No, go ahead. But it means it has value in Pakistan either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I started watching cricket in '92, with the World Cup.
Yeah.
So my introduction was the '92 team.
Wow.
Winning the World Cup. Mm-hmm. That was the first ICC tournament I ever saw. That was the first organized cricket I ever saw. So for me, it's been a constant, just
slow, gradual.
Just a slow,
yeah,
gradual.
But then you had that team of '99, like
with some brief,
Yeah, but I feel that it's always been this sort of roller coaster, right? There's ups and there's downs, and it's been happening probably even before, we started watching cricket, let's say 92, 96 period. But
so anyways, I just said that to say that, like, if you know about Pakistan's cricket history, I think it might be the most unorthodox cricket board, right? Like, from how it was started by Justice Cornelius, the PCB headquarters was a traveling suitcase, jahan par bhi Justice jate the PCB headquarters was basically traveling along in like unhone zabardasti Pakistan cricket board banaya tha. He was maybe the most passionate individual in the world. So
wow,
from there to where we are now.
Cornelius, is that the same as the verb that Cornelius?
Yeah, it's named after him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So where we are now. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, it was just generally.
I think there are a couple things over there, like the current state. I feel personally, I think there's a very non-serious approach to
how we're
managing cricket these days. Anyway, with the sort of chairman switches, and then. Also, another thing that I was thinking about earlier was, how Kirsten and Gillespie came in. Now, sure, Gillespie may be a sort of a new figure as far as coaching is concerned, but Gary Kirsten, I mean, that guy's got a track record.
Absolutely.
And there was all this, all this talk about them not having any sort of voting rights in terms of selection and getting
coaches,
and getting pissed because of that, and then one guy resigns, the other guy follows. It's I feel that when you are in such a dire need for like a structural reform and proper sort of modern coaches and all of that, you've got these guys in, give them a chance. And I mean, let go of your egos a little, and let them sit on the table, I guess, for a little while, like sort of see it through.
Absolutely.
But do you think the biggest problem with Pakistan cricket is the fact that the chairman is appointed by the Prime Minister? Because then essentially, like, if it's a political appointee, then it's no longer a cricket board, right?
There's...
It's a political post.
It's a political post, and it's also problematic when the leader of the opposition, if you will, is the most prominent cricketer and you've jailed him, right?
Sure.
Because there is a certain cricketing legacy that you are opposing then, right? Being that thing. And you have to have somebody who is opposed to that, even though he could have good ideas and he's made a lot of contributions to the thing. The second thing that I look at is Mohsin Naqvi has, what is the opposite of the Midas touch? Everything you touch turns to shit, right? Like you either, the PCB chairman is a full-time job in my opinion, right?
Exactly.
This is not juggling. Oh, okay.
You can't be double-hatting.
I can't be heading selection on one side and then killing protesters on D-Chalk the second day, right?
And
you have to focus.
Being
right?
an interior minister is also a full-time job.
I mean, if you have to do this, kill cricketers, right? No, but yeah. So well, I mean interior minister
was sports minister, chief selector, and 2-3 other jobs at the same time.
And then there was something.
I mean, he can do it. Maybe Mohsin Naqvi can do it.
Yeah, I mean, additional thing. He also just got selected to the Asian Cricket Council. Another feather in his hat.
Who?
Mohsin Naqvi. Right? And we're just looking for opportunity because he is such a capable man, clearly, right? Amno Aman aa gaya. At the same time, we won the Champions Trophy. Like, that's just...
Pakistan cricket is nowhere right now.
Do you think this is
that term, being up a creek without a paddle? And I think cricket, as it is already a tough sport, right? Yeah. Considering the fact that there's no context in which it's played. Like, international cricket is played without context.
So elaborate on that.
Yeah. What I mean by that is if you look at the NBA, for example, basketball, right? There's 82 games in the season, and then you go on to a playoffs. Every year there's a recurring structure, context to it, right? So if you're going to play basketball at the highest level, you want to win, this is what you do.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the Premier League, you have 38 games a year, right? Whoever gets the most points, they win the league. There's a certain context, right? Why are we playing what we're playing, right? Iska kya fayda? So cricket is a challenging sport as it is because there's very little context outside of the World Cup, outside of Champions trophies, right? We have these bilateral tours, which essentially are quite inconsequential.
And they seem ad hoc. I mean, I'm sure they're scheduled and everything.
Ad hoc.
They're not within that contextual structure that you're talking about.
Yeah. Like with football, every year, the league starts on this day, it's going to go until this, it's going to be this many games, everyone plays the same, right? So there's context. Yeah, you know what's going to happen, you know why it's happening.
Absolutely, and I also think that what you're talking about is, you're not talking about one sport, you're talking about 3 sports basically, right? T20, one day, and these are very different. You play the game differently, you have different players often.
Yeah. Cricket being a difficult sport to follow as it is, I think the way that we administer it, manage it, the way we've gone about our cricket compounds, all of the feelings that you're feeling. Because not only is there no context, right now, looking at the PCB, you have a definite lack of continuity. Everybody seems to believe that there's a lack of professionalism, transparency. There's, just, it seems like there's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going on.
So I want to go back to your point on the Prime Minister choosing the chairman. What alternative do you think would work? I haven't had a chance to look at, selection mechanisms in other countries.
That's what I feel it's a political appointment even in India, right?
Yeah, but again, India isn't the best example because look at what Amit Shah's son's doing.
But I don't know if that is the biggest issue. I mean, you've still seen chairmen come in who've done a decent sort of job. However, right now it's just this switching from one person to the other in such a short span of time, whatever they're trying to...
My issue is not the fact that... So I don't have anything against any Prime Minister of Pakistan, right? I'm not a particularly political person at all. The issue is Pakistan is not known for its continuity, even in the political arena.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So when there's so much inconsistency, मैं आपकी जगह ले रहा हूँ, आप मेरी जगह ले रहे हो, फिर मेरी जगह इसने ले ली, फिर मैंने इसकी जगह ले ली, जो भी, you could support whomever you want, but cricket suffers every time something happens in politics, right?
Yeah,
it seems that like every 12 months, the entire cricket apparatus has to start from scratch.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Can we insulate cricket?
It has to.
And it doesn't just mean the chairman, but I think it really does mean starting with the chairman, perhaps, right? Can you have, for example, an independent board where you have, 13 or 14, ex-cricketers or well-known personalities? You could have judges, for that matter, right? Who sit down and say, this is the person we believe should be selected. This is how you select judges. This is how you select, independent entity and things like that. And that should be the procedure for it, right? Like, at least you've gotten a degree of separation. And what that also does is, I think, it insulates, like you could have them selected by, the member of the opposition as well as the Prime Minister agreeing to it, right? It's how you select different positions in government, Chief Election Commissioner, for example. Now,
I would have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think that just seems like something. I mean, so my other job, other than a podcast, is looking at ways to reform, bring about reform. And when you want to create an independent entity, you have to do it with a degree of separation from the political. And that just seems to be.
No, I would completely agree with that. I mean, actually, sort of implementing that
is impossible
with what we have and what we live in over here. I don't know. That's a bit.
No. Pakistan is. These ideas are beautiful theoretically.
Exactly.
They have zero to no relevance. Who's going to cede power, right?
Yeah.
When has anyone been known in Pakistan to cede power? Okay. Let's look at a few.
Javed Miyada.
He ceded power
To Imran Khan.
Yeah. वैसे तो मुशर्रफ ने भी कियानी को at some point eventually कर लिया था.
But I think Miyadad was kind of...
Yeah, Miyadad also extended it like Musharraf did. Right?
But Miyadad was like open to it. Right?
Yeah,
that's like he was open to it. He was like, that's
That's true. Can we go back? So moving from selection of PCB, how has Mohsin Naqvi's tour been? I don't want to...
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Mohsin Naqvi, his term.
Yeah.
How his or if you want, reign of terror. No.
When did his reign start?
Yeah, even I don't remember. This was interim caretaker setup में नहीं हुआ था ये?
After Ramiz or?
Right after
Ramiz.
Right. Yeah, so it was during the caretaker government.
So the last 3 years, basically.
Yeah, 2 and a half, 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
No, actually, Zaka Ashraf came back.
But then उसपे cases और वो चीजें थी.
For that period, जो I think वो mainly, I'm not sure how long it was, but Zaka Ashraf was there for a bit, and then Naqvi has come in, and I feel that maybe it's been about a year and a half, or so.
I think it's been a little longer, but anyway, numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 3 tournaments we've been quite pathetic.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no other way to judge.
Can we give him credit for getting these stadiums up in time? for the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, I think you got to give credit where it's due.
I mean, it was difficult to get this done.
And it was long overdue, right? Whether it's Champions Trophy or for your just bilateral series, with other teams touring, you had to upgrade all your stadiums.
Absolutely.
And especially the ones in the primary cities, and they've done that. And they've done it in great time.
Exactly.
The whole sort of Champions Trophy has gone smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You haven't had stands collapsing or anything else. So there's some work that's been done. There's a whole lot of stuff going on about drainage and all of that.
But it's just hard for me to give props for people coming through with the bare minimum.
That's a really good point.
It's really hard to give props.
But I think we are
the bare minimum.
But this is this is a national habit now, right? कि our prime minister or politicians वो अपने for providing healthcare. Wow, you've saved lives, which is your freaking job, dude. ठीक है? उसके लिए अपनी तस्वीरें लगा लेते हैं posters पे और ये वो और showing basic stuff.
I think the fact that there was this whole drama that bringing the stadiums up to shape, the fact that was an issue.
Is
a bad thing.
I went to a New Zealand match before this Champions Trophy. अभी जो एक दो दफा New Zealand came in. I took the boys.
I think that's an indictment. The fact that we were talking about new stadium बन रहा है ये वो हो रहा है. That's an indictment on the whole.
They had शामियानों के साथ जो chairs नहीं आती वो लगाई हुई थी उन्हें यार. It was such a horror. हाँ पिंडी वाला. ठीक है. I mean I had first gotten, it was just me and my son. First gotten the regular tickets. I just thought we'll be on ground level as opposed to जो महंगी seats होती हैं ज़रा ऊंची होती हैं. So I'm sitting it's honestly was a terrible experience. Like the chairs are broken, this and that, and like you're not enjoying the cricket if you're sitting there. Right?
The last time I went to Pindi Stadium, I had a horrible time.
I can imagine. Absolutely.
It was a terrible time. I went in the general stands. Okay. A lot of people like to go into the VIP where it's very comfortable, etc., etc. But I feel like if you're going to go to a match, I want to feel the energy of the crowd. I want to be in there. So I was in the 200 rupee general stand, and the crowd was great.
Crowd is always,
Tamashai jo the, they were incredible.
Absolutely.
But everything else was horrible. Pani nahi tha peene ko, khana nahi tha khane ko, bathroom nahi tha kisi bhi tarah ka. Bathroom ki jagah, like I don't even want to go into the details. Because Pindi Stadium ki upgradation us waqt nahi hui thi. It was just...
You remember that Faisal bag match?
That's what I'm talking about.
So there... Obviously people did have to relieve themselves. There was a line against the wall of these guys.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. And about like 250 people, just khade hoke bas.
Open air.
Puri line bani hui thi.
Open air.
My God.
Just, the sort of passage to come in from the gate, and then you go into your enclosures right there, right against the wall. Everybody's lined up.
Where was this?
In Pindi Stadium.
Pindi Stadium.
But this is now, we're talking...
this is a while ago.
This is a long time ago. It's maybe 2014, 2015. There wasn't much... there weren't international matches really being played. So there was this domestic thing called Faisal Bag T20 at that time.
I completely understand. But last year, we general stands. Took my son, it was first cricket match. I wanted him to experience the full war with the crowd and everything. General stands, no bathroom. The bathroom that was there, it was in the worst possible condition. And it was like, pure stadium ke liye, I think 2 bathrooms the in that section. Right? You're talking about a few hundred people, right? So I mean, those things, I think it's an issue of pre-planning and forethought, which doesn't go into this. They think, but we have to provide them. It's about building the experience. Like if you go to a stadium in the US, well, it's
an incredible experience.
Oh my God! Like incredible. And how they make money. You get merchandise there. You get amazing food there. They're overpriced. Right, you get whatever you want to drink there, and all of those things, right? You're buying your jerseys and all that. That experience is part of what it is, right? The mascots there, all of that. Pakistan,
and it's a comfortable experience.
Exactly.
It's a comfortable experience. Where you're not worried about, and cricket is not basketball in the sense that it's a long game, right? So
Exactly.
bathrooms, refreshment, food. If you want people to attend your matches, especially if we're talking about 50 over games, that's an entire day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
So
I mean, you
have
still,
to, I think the way PCB has been going about doing the games, they don't account for creature comforts when it comes to the fans, the crowd, people that are attending the games. Sure, the visiting players are, treated like kings. They get these escorts, we deploy like 10,000 rangers to take care of them. There's helicopters, roadein band ho jati hain, main daftar nahi ja sakta.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
but that's the other issue with it.
Here's a question for you. Did cricket actually ever come back properly to Pakistan?
After what? You seem to be implying that there was a time when it died, like when it fell off and it hasn't come back.
Because the Sri Lanka team incident.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I would say
in that
it's
context,
come back.
Yeah. I didn't feel it's ever come. Like, if this Champions Trophy was in Dubai, I would have been a lot happier.
I think there is that level of discomfort every time a tournament happens. यार कि कुछ हो जाएगा और फिर चली जाएगी. वो जो पहले था ना before the incident के cricket होती है, पाकिस्तान में भी होती है, हर जगह होती है. That level of normalcy has not, I think, been achieved yet.
It hasn't.
But I don't think that's going to be achieved anytime soon.
That's true.
I mean, there still is that threat.
Yeah, I mean, 20 साल से.
Yeah, exactly. So, जो उनको security provide हो रही है और रोडें बंद हो रही हैं, वो होना पड़ेगा. Because I mean, you have to. There still is that risk over
Absolutely.
here. It's just that you've beefed up your security to the extent where now these other boards are comfortable with the security arrangements, and I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, just look at the security situation of your country. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
While these guys are here, there's still all the bombings in these markets and this Balochistan incident, and there's still things happening while you've got all these international teams just
in fact, it's heightened when these guys are here, right?
Yeah,
because this is a target which has been targeted before, cricket teams, and this is if you want to spread terror, what is a better target than an international cricket team in another country? And if you want to ruin relations, right? Having said that, shall we speak about how petty the Indians are? So I mean, I understand your point. Sorry, I understand your point about you would have been just okay, just as okay if this was taking place in Dubai, the whole tournament.
I may have actually gone to a game if it was in Dubai.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go to a single tournament. Even my kids are still nuts about cricket.
Yeah.
But
we play like 40, 50 matches a year, something like that, with our cricket. So like we like the game. हम काफी ज़्यादा खेलते हैं, काफी खेलते हैं. But I haven't gone to a single game in years just because of how bad the experience is.
And you're talking about the experience in the stadium, but also what you're viewing, right? Or is the view, it doesn't matter what's happening on the field?
I don't even remember what happened in the last match I saw because the overall, I was just
Absolutely. I get what
I
you're
remember
saying.
Wahab was playing. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, this is fast. Right?
Yeah.
Because this was right in the middle of his post-2015 resurgence where he sprouted wings and he was all of a sudden bowling 155 and everything. So seeing that in real life, I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's quite an experience, absolutely. Yeah. I remember there was a match where Tendulkar, and I'm aging myself here, but Tendulkar and Shoaib Akhtar, Pindi Stadium. Tendulkar scored a century, Shoaib Akhtar bowls him, and we were really down at that point because ye banda maar ke humre wo, and I'm carrying drinks for my friends, and the drinks went everywhere, and the whole crowd erupted, and it was just chaos. But that was that experience, is seared into my memory. It is this amazing. Do you feel that the Indian team was justified in denying us those matches? Because it's the biggest thing in cricket, man. I mean, come on, India, Pakistan.
I think it's justified.
I mean, it's the biggest thing in brown lives. That's what
brown lives. No, and this bloody thing is coming back to us after 29 years.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's justified at all, but you knew what direction it's going to take since you knew from the get-go.
But do you think it would have been different had Amit Shah's son not been ICC chairman? Or do you think India has enough?
Yeah,
I think
don't
the BCCI has enough pull.
Yeah. It is de facto behind the scenes ICC chairman in any case, right?
Yeah.
And can I play the devil's advocate for?
Please.
For a second, if you're the
Sir, I'm sub advocates here. It's a law firm. Please.
If you're the Indian team, would you come to Pakistan?
That's a really good question. I probably if I had the option, right, I would not come to Pakistan.
Right.
I'd be doing it as a favor if I did come.
Yeah, you would.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's no real reason for me. In fact, I think all of the teams that came have done this as a favor. If they wanted to, they could have said there's no reason to play in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Right. We don't carry that type of purse where we can attract so much money and that's why teams to play here, this and that. Hamara hai thoda bahut, we're a good team, we've had amazing legacy, but we're not India, right? We're nowhere near the top 3. And I think that has a huge impact on our ability to then get people to come here. So I think bahut bada ehsan hai in sabka hamare upar to be playing in Pakistan and for this trophy to have, but I think it's in the scheme of things, there were check marks that you needed to return to some semblance of normalcy, and I think the Champions Trophy was one of them.
Okay.
Right. At least in my opinion.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with that as well. I mean, it's a big milestone. That you've had now. It's not only one team coming in and playing a 3-match series or whatever. You've got your top 8 teams, except for India. So you've got 7 teams that have actually sort of been around playing in Karachi, Lahore, Pindi, and you've sort of successfully gone through it all. Our performance and the fact that the host nation only played 1 game in their country,
my God,
is insane. But otherwise,
let's get to that.
match ke liye itna kharcha kiya.
Final bhi chala gaya. I mean, it's very, very sad.
Yeah, man, that's
how things
and then not being
out,
on the podium when
or having no representation over there at the end.
Exactly, that I think was.
I think generally, with these things, it is the ICC chairman giving the trophy, but you have some.
So apparently, Mohsin Naqvi, God bless him, he said that I have a ijlas or something. I can't go. I can't make it. So then,
तो इसीलिए कोई और PCB chairman होना चाहिए था.
बेचारा busy हो जाता है.
यार.
ठीक है, exactly.
He could have had a proxy or another representative.
He did. So there was the number 2 or something in the.
Oh, there was something.
Yeah, but they just didn't invite him onto the. They didn't consider him.
Yeah, and I was looking at that.
Who is number 2 in PCB?
Probably Akib Javed.
नहीं था. There was
number 2
there was some official.
Number 2
तुम्हें पता नहीं है.
There was someone, I forget his name, but
you got everybody's got a double hat.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's neither here nor there.
Let's talk about the actual team now. I think external factors, and we've that's how I wanted to look at it. Outside factors and then internal factors. Team selection. Was this the best group of 11, 12, 13 people?
Oh, absolutely not.
Really? I thought it was completely schizophrenic, the team selection this time around.
Another thing that I've been thinking about this, again from the test matches that we played, with this Sajid and Numan Ali. Chalo theek hai, maybe tumne square turners bana liye and they were getting a lot of assistance from the pitch.
Yeah.
However, you're in a situation where you need to have spinners. You don't, aside from these two who have performed in those conditions. I mean, look, do you remember those matches? Your bowling was 99% the both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no.
And Shamir, you still have some semblance of control over the pitch. They're in Pakistan.
Exactly.
Right? So,
or I don't know, there might be, I think there's some oversight in terms of the ICC as well on general guidelines of how the pitch needs to be. So maybe you can't have those rank turners or anything like that. But these two, I don't understand when you don't have any alternative. These two who have performed, sure, with the red ball, why aren't they being given a chance in the team when you don't have your Saeed Ajmals and Saklan Mushtaqs, you don't have anybody. Even
and you haven't had anyone for years.
Right. So why are they not being tested over here?
That's a really good question. Is it because of maybe the all-rounder factor that can these guys bat as well?
Well,
but does it matter in the end?
Yeah.
If they're good enough spinners,
they have batted in those test matches. I think they've churned out a 50 or something in these matches, both of them.
Absolutely.
But all-rounder kya? Like, usme, the thing is that you need specialized spinners, right?
Absolutely.
That's the sort of biggest demand over here now, given the conditions.
Do you think the lower emphasis on the spinners is because we've gotten hung up on the Shaheens and Naseems and Haris Roofs? Because our bowling mix is an issue, right?
Yeah.
These guys aren't performing like they used to.
Yeah.
Selection ki aapne baat ki thi, and I felt it was quite schizophrenic, right? The lack of spinners being in the team is one aspect of it, and then just look at how the team was announced, right? Fahim Ashraf aaya, and Fahim Ashraf hasn't played international cricket in 2 years, right? Am I right? 1.5, 2 years.
I don't think so. And it was one of those guest appearance type thing.
Cameo.
Yeah.
And in the cricket that he had played, right? Uski bowling ka average, I think Wasim Akram said something like batting ka uska 9 ka average hai, bowling mein 100 ka average hai.
Wow.
Right? So it's like, what's the basis behind? So there's that. There's not having a specialist spinner when even teams like New Zealand are coming in with 2-3 spinners
and making it to the finals.
And in the warm-up games, the little triangular series we played in New Zealand and South Africa, the commentators were talking about how their spinners are breaking the ball more than we are.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? Because they had full-time spinners and were relying on one specialist who's a mystery spinner. So uska matlab hai uski वैसे break करती भी नहीं है, right? He
surprise.
Like he deceives you through pace, through bounce, through variations, through that type of stuff, right? Chalo theek hai, you've got a mystery spinner, but then you need another specialist.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we didn't have a specialist.
Yeah, they thought
Salman Ali Agha is a fantastic all-rounder, but he's not a spinner who's going to give you results in the subcontinent, in my opinion. Sufyan Mukim ek tha ladka jiska naam humne bahut suna hai. Apparently he played one game, took 4 wickets and then never played again.
He was in the Australian series.
One-hit wonder.
Was he in the Australian
He was in the Australian series.
But he didn't play in the Australian series.
No. In Zimbabwe, I think that is where he did really well. और फिर एक कोई odd match उधर खेला है Australia में where he got absolutely like torn apart.
What to say? That's Australia. Why would you take a spinner to Australia anyway?
I think
glass
it was in
pitches.
Australia.
Take him up.
Yeah.
No, but वही चीज, like you've now got this one guy who can potentially be.
He's got the skill. Now you have to hone that.
Exactly.
Right? And give him the confidence that you can play on the international stage. Right? और हम यही करके कि 2 मैच खिला के फिर withdraw कर देंगे, तो इसको fear of God आ गई होती है कि यार अगर मैंने कुछ ना किया अभी, and so the level of pressure that we build on these guys, obliterates any level of self-confidence that I'm able to do this.
And there's no transparency behind these decisions, which is my pet peeve, right? कि अगर फ़हीम अशरफ आ रहा है तो क्यों आ रहा है? उसने first class खेला है, अगर खेला है तो किसके against खेला है? What did he score? What did he do? हमारी selection में इस तरह की चीज़ें भी होती हैं कि one injury can completely upend the entire team combination, right? Like for example, साइम अयूब को थोड़ी सी चोट लगी है, अभी हमको बैटिंग नहीं करनी
फ़खर ज़मान
right?
ठीक है.
Fakhar Zaman came, who was forced, who was already dealing with, something or the other.
And then he got injured, and again.
And then Imam, who hadn't played in ages, and then you can't expect someone to just show up tomorrow morning and, score runs against India.
Yeah, I have a radical idea. What if, is it like America's Got Talent where you vote online? What if we had like crowdsourcing the selection? People vote on the players. I think that would be a fantastic vote. मसला ये कि you'd get like अगर उस चीज़ में शायद अफरीदी अभी भी खड़ा हो जाए ना लोग उसी को वोट दें. और शायद अफरीदी ठीक है मतलब though he's retired and he's old and he's not able to. So but I think there's been a problem and
देखें अगर आपने किसी की मर्जी माननी है तो आवाम की मान लें.
In the end, यार हम elections में नहीं करते तो इसमें छोड़ो ठीक है.
But you're already a joke. Why not try something new?
Exactly. Or at least half the team. ठीक है जो है आपका top order जो है we'll select.
I love listening to pundits and commentators and podcast hosts from other countries talk about Pakistan cricket.
Because it's so much more balanced and honest, I feel.
Yeah, but I envy them, right? Because they can approach it from a position of I guess journalism or just
neutrality. Not having skin in the game.
Not being so passionate about it, right? Because like as a Pakistani, you get riled up about it.
Absolutely.
So like the way they approach it, it's like it's like comic relief.
It's embarrassing comic relief, right? Like as a Pakistani shram aati hai. Absolutely. And we've heard this term so many times, and I think it's been used in a strange way, mercurial, right? Where this is the most diplomatic way of saying sometimes you're shit, sometimes you're great, right? And mercurial is the term that applied to us. And what does it show? The lack of consistency, the lack of you have raw talent, and that sometimes the planets align, and that gets you, you can beat the best team in the world. But then most of the time, ठीक है, you are just gonna be that minnow team जिसकी कुछ होनी और वो threat हुआ. मुझे जो डर लग रहा है कि अब हम mercurial भी नहीं है कि हमारी वो जो threat और वो lethality जो थी ना has gone. Right? Whether it's bowling or whether it's batting, and batting like just up to a few years ago still was making sense, right? We had Babar Azam at his prime, Rizwan doing this, and now it's just in shambles. The bowling is what hurts me the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because we were brought up in a Waqar Yunus, Wasim Akram era, ठीक है, background में आकिब जावेद भी खुशी कर रहा होता था, ठीक है, and these were iconic bowlers, and Shoaib Akhtar comes and he just changes how you look at bowling, right? And you haven't produced a bowler of that level. ठीक, Mohammad Asif tha, and then he had his problems, and you had Ahmed has done a decent job.
Then he was done.
Yeah, and then he was done, and फिर वो politics खेलने शुरू हो गया और हजार चीजें आ गई. But why can't we produce a guy of this level? Like क्या हमारे जेनेटिक्स में मसले आ गए हैं, एटम बम के धमाके करने के बाद जीन्स हमारी ख़राब हो गई हैं, या what's happened?
I think this is a really interesting point you brought up, and I think it comes down to managing your fast bowling resources.
Cultivating it?
Managing them.
Okay.
Managing them once they've come out onto the scene.
Okay.
Right, because I mean between the three of us, I think we could name maybe 20-25 fast bowlers that have come and gone. And they all had a couple of games where you thought, oh my goodness,
this guy might be the next. Going to be the next big thing.
Really?
हाँ.
Wow.
इसमें कितने नाम आप कह सकते हो, right? आते हैं, जाते हैं, and the three-pronged attack we have, like all three of these guys were like that. When Haris came on, you were like, oh my goodness, he's the next thing.
Yeah.
Shaheen भी yही था, Naseem Shah भी यही था.
Oh, true.
Naseem Shah, when he burst onto the scene, was touching 150.
Wow.
Right? He was unplayable.
Yeah.
And if you go a little bit back, you remember
उसको उसने खराब किया नसीम शाह को, ये जो स्ट्रॉन्ग पेप्सी निकली है ना,
स्ट्रॉन्ग पेप्सी
ठीक है, स्ट्रॉन्ग है उसका यार, वो पुरानी पेप्सी ठीक थी, ठीक है, सही चल रहा था, अब
क्या डाला है.
Sorry, but and so you were saying that there's
so it's an inability to manage your fast bowling resources. Do you remember that South African team with Dale Steyn, Morne Morkel? You know, they had
I saw those guys. I saw those guys bowl at the Waka.
Oh
man, it was
that must have been something
deadly. And Abla scored 150 or something in that match. That was a lot of fun. Sorry, go on.
Anyways, so they used to have a rotation policy.
Okay.
Right, because fast bowling isn't something that you can do.
No, it takes a toll on your body,
time.
dude.
Yeah,
Huge.
You have to manage that load. You have to recover. And so, say if Dale Steyn and Morning Workle were playing like a 3 or 5 game series, they would never play all 5 games.
Okay. Together, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be 3 games, one guy.
Yeah.
So
like Steyn would never play the entire series, even if it was 2-2. And the 4th game, it was, it
was a decider and...
A decider, and if he'd played all 4, he wouldn't play the last one, right? Because they had enough faith in the next guy in line. Okay, he's good enough to perform, even in a decider. So that sort of culture, okay, you're expected to fill that rotation spot. You're expected to manage your body. You're expected to do these things. That culture, something like that, I think would be
we ruined
vastly
Shaheen.
Beneficial.
Shaheen coming back from his injury, we brought him in back too early for what is it, the World Cup? And I think that has had a permanent impact on his pace.
Yeah.
Right?
You can say that with all 3 of these guys now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Isn't that what happened to Rahat Ali? Remember Rahat Ali, the left armer?
Yeah, you loved him.
He was good.
He
man.
was.
He was really good for a while.
He was a very consistent sort of, that
He had a nice
consistency in terms of line and length, right? A good test bowler.
He was
sort
a
of
really
hitting
good test
those
bowler.
spots consistently.
One of my favorite bowlers was Junaid Khan.
Junaid Khan was a good bowler. Yeah.
Junaid Khan was a great bowler, and then injuries came in, and that was another career. Imran Khan Jr. था, फिर एक और इमरान खान आया था.
यार मोहम्मद इरफान भी जो था जिस तरह उसको मैनेज किया था during his time, now this guy is a giant.
Yeah.
He has to be managed more than the rest of your resources.
Absolutely.
But it didn't matter. It's that approach कि हाँ वो मतलब नहीं, we just gotta.
उसको cryogenic chamber में सुलाना चाहिए था, ठीक है? They should have like वो क्या stem cell therapy.
NASA को उसकी डाइट बनानी चाहिए.
Andrew Huberman के साथ बैठाते ना. He'd have people staring at the sun in the morning.
ये बात किसने की है कि कोहली की डाइट नासा बनाता है?
I've stopped trusting anything Indian media says. ठीक है? It could be कि यार खुदा से एक खत आता है जिसमें उसकी डाइट है. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Man.
It might have been. Because I remember it was a TV show where he was saying that NASA जो है वो रोनाल्डो का डाइट प्लान बनाता है, तो फिर कोहली भी उधर गया है अपना बनाने.
वो इतने फारिग हैं नासा वाले, ठीक है? Or is this how? Or because of budget cuts, this is how they make money on the side. कि सर हम डाइट प्लान बना देंगे, हम मून पहुंचा देते हैं लोगों को, ठीक है? लेकिन यहाँ पे डाइट प्लान बनाएंगे. Yeah, nice of him though. But
so actually, a fun fact. Somebody who I went to school with actually works for NASA. So I got in touch. So I was like, yeah, Kohli ka diet plan tum logon ne banaya. She's like, who the fuck is Kohli?
Yeah, that's brilliant. As far as I know, NASA...
And she's the right person to talk to because she works in PR.
Okay, wow, yeah, she would know.
Yeah,
this is, if NASA was actually doing it, you would have Kohli's picture on a rocket. Okay, that's how it was. But NASA makes dehydrated food. I went to the Houston Space Center, NASA Space Center in Houston, and वहाँ पे you can buy it in the gift shop. Okay, they make dehydrated food.
They make food for space.
For space, exactly.
Not for athletes.
Exactly. And anyway, if Ramiz Bhai said it, then it must be.
So yeah, man, we need a fast bowling rotation. We need management resources. You need to be able to identify these players, keep them on a track. Otherwise, it's so sad when these kids come onto the scene with like oodles of God-given talent. They play 5-8 games and then you never hear from them again. It makes me so sad.
Yeah, again, going back to, I mean, there's so many similarities between government reform and reform in this particular context, right? There's certain areas where it's better if the government doesn't touch it, just gets its hand off, and lets the sector.
What's wrong with privatizing cricket?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean,
if
that's
you want to privatize something, PIA ko chhod do, cricket ko kar lo.
Absolutely, I think that would be that'd be a really interesting.
That's kind of how the NBA runs.
You'd have a lot less. I mean, you'd have a lot more transparency.
You'd have transparency. You'd have results. You'd have accountability. If something goes wrong, you'd be like, yeah, this person is in charge of this, right? They talk about bringing in a corporate style structure, etc. I mean, even with what we have now, I think that would be better than what we have now.
Agreed. Achha, let's look at some more tactical things.
Tactical things.
And I know theoretically it's a little difficult to discuss tactical things. So let's take the India match. Okay.
Sure.
We had, the pitch, the conditions, the support for India was massive there. But also, you play with the cards you're dealt, and our team was frankly on paper not as good as India's, and not anywhere close, in my opinion. Do you think we could have played it tactically better? Were there decisions that could have taken place that would have affected the outcome of the match, or at least made the victory somewhat closer?
Yeah, always.
I mean, it's that again, just something that I think we've said so many times, whether it's against India or anybody else. It's that also the first 10 overs, how you play them out, right? Now, what were we doing against India over there?
We're going to save our wickets so that we can put them in the bank and earn interest off them. I don't know what they were doing.
So there wasn't like everybody's going on about intent and whatever. I mean, maybe they just don't have the ability to do it, but I think you've got to show some sort of aggression over there.
Is that nerves? Do you think that was the pressure that I really think a factor was the pressure, but also...
But that's part of the game, isn't it?
That's part of the game.
Like, right. You're Babar Azam now.
Exactly.
Like, you should be okay with this pressure. Like, you've been in the top 10 for how long?
When you are anointed by the Lord as King Babar Azam, right? Then you man the fuck up, right? That's how it is.
And you're playing international cricket, right? Pressure should not be...
Yeah,
it should not be such a big factor. It turns you from a lion into a lamb.
Oh, yeah.
That's
absolutely.
What I'm saying.
Absolutely. I think that's well said. That's very well said. Look, I think in the past we've had some of these issues. Underconfidence, we see a big stage, we collapse, right? But I think we were able to recover. You started getting people who were self-confident because they were in the game for the love of the game, and for Babar Azam, for example, I think it's had a positive impact on that, where it's given the team confidence. You have people who are able to get the younger players and say, we're here to stay. This is as much our game as anyone else's, and so have that confidence to play the game. यहाँ पे अब मुझे जाके लग रहा है कि यार, how in golf it's all a mental game and थोड़ा सा भी वो हो जाए. I think that's what was affecting. It was just the fact that यार पाकिस्तान में नहीं हो रहा, India के साथ match है, this is huge, we're going to get knocked out, what do? Tuk करके, let's play safe, right? And I think it's when you don't give them enough confidence, play your natural game. That's what happens. Or वो khichdi, too many cooks spoil the broth, right? You've got Aqib Javed coming, you've got this guy, you've got that guy, you've got everyone saying कि ये करो वो करो, selectors कुछ कह रहे हैं, ये लोग कुछ और कह रहे हैं, और फिर captain के पास क्या वो रह जाती है. I'm sorry, I'm interviewing myself here.
I mean, we're all passionate about this. I completely hear what you're saying.
Yeah. But it was, look, the team...
Sorry, before I forget, the question was about tactical approach.
Absolutely, yeah.
It would have been nice to see one. I just felt there wasn't any evidence of
lack
tactics.
Of it.
We were just in the middle, just doing nothing, playing for survival. Like if your boat capsizes on a lake and you're just trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
That's like...
a recipe for dying.
That's what we were doing.
It was towards...
We weren't trying to get anywhere. It didn't seem like, okay, they've got like these 5 over things, no intent, no trying to express yourself.
And it was towards the end
never
that
imposing
the
yourself.
tail came, and I think put on a 20 to 25 odd runs that they got at the end. Yeah. Otherwise, we were going out on like a 210 to 20 type of target.
Absolutely. Which wasn't a match then. I mean, at least they made it. it was still, really short in terms of the runs.
Yeah, but even with that 240, you needed at that time what you had in your mind.
Have you ever seen a race like in the Olympics or something where like someone's just like leading the entire race by like a lap and a half?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a contest. It takes time. People watch it, but it was never really a contest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you, specifically.
And that 240 mark, at that time, I'm sure in all of our minds, it was you had that hope that all right, that Pakistani bowling comes alive again. That's the only way you're taking this match.
Yeah,
but it was
but I'll be honest. After I saw the score, I completely lost interest in the second innings. I mean, we don't have that. Like realistically looking at it, you don't have that bowling attack that could have done. I mean, unless a miracle happens, but I mean, that was then India's game to really lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
You talk about this Pakistani bowling attack every time. क्या कहते हैं?
You're in a pickle.
You're in a pickle. You need someone to play the game of their life, right? That's our strategy and tactical approach. Okay, Oves, aaj aap jayenge. You're going to play the best game you've ever played in your life, and then we might win. That's our tactical approach.
Yeah. It's hope and prayer. That's that's the tactical approach. I just wanted to very quickly touch on a few things. Do we have a fitness issue in the team?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Huge fitness issue.
Yeah. If Azam Khan can
make it to
the team, there is definitely something wrong with your
we are
fitness requirements.
Equal opportunity. The PCB is an equal opportunity employer. You can come in with your disabilities. You can come in with
exactly.
I'll go so far as to say that Aqib Javed is in better shape than a lot of the players right now.
Wow, yeah, that's saying something, dude. That guy's got years on him, man.
Yeah,
and I have some context. मैं ऐਵੇਂ नहीं कह रहा, because Aqib Javed goes to my gym.
Okay, wow.
And a lot of times when these tournaments happen, so like the teams stay at the Serena, and they also come to the same gym.
Okay, wow.
And you compare and contrast the players and Aqib bhai working out, and you're like,
so he's got that dog in him. Right.
Like, I mean, he's on the treadmill, he's working out. Like,
he
looks like an athlete, right?
No, absolutely. He looks great. Like, even now, usme,
There's absolutely a fitness issue. Remember that whole controversy where people were pushing Yunus Khan away for doing fitness tests?
Yeah.
And like they started calling some people, and like Imran Khan tak calling log karne shuru kar rahe hain. Khan se bhi mera fitness test kar rahe hain.
And I think Mickey Arthur had a very sort of was really heavy on that fitness side of things, and there was this whole Omer Akmal saga at that time and all of that.
And you can tell we're not fit. Like these little injuries that people are picking up. If you're fit, if you're agile, if you're flexible, you don't have injuries like what Saim Ayum had, what Fakhr Zaman had. Even the fit guys can improve, I think, in terms of flexibility, recovery, fitness. Because fitness,
stamina, endurance, all of absolutely.
There's strength, there's flexibility, there's speed, there's power. There's कितनी सारी चीजें होती हैं.
नहीं, absolutely. Or, I mean, endurance का ये कि if you get tired, you make 100, you've done wo, or you make 50. Are you able to convert that into 100? And it does fatigue play a factor in you not doing that? Yeah. If that's the case, तो यार you are a detriment to the team then, right? You're there.
Rizwan को देखे ना कितने cramps होते हैं.
Yeah.
And he's one of the fittest people on the team.
Yeah, मुझे लगता है थोड़ा कभी ड्रामा भी करता है.
करता होगा मगर.
ठीक है. I love him. ठीक है. I think he's actually a good player. I think he's a positive in the team. But
very positive.
Final question: are we good cricket fans? And by we, I mean the country. Are we, as a supporting community, supportive enough? And I think we're very understanding. ठीक है.
I think we're super understanding.
Yeah, I think this.
Have you ever seen Argentinian football fans?
Yeah, man, we're not burning stadiums down.
Yeah. They don't take any kind of quarter. I think we're very good fans.
Or shooting umpires.
Really? That's what. My God, dude.
It's an incident where, but that was a South American league.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They shot the ref.
Yeah, they shot the ref.
Shit. It sounds something Colombian.
Probably
I think we are, honestly. Anytime any foreign team comes in, I think they get a great reception. They're treated really well. I've even heard some players say that, they get more attention here than they do in their home countries sometimes. Wow. I don't know if it's true or not, but I think we're a hospitable nation when it comes to...
No, absolutely. When it comes to international...
I'm jumbling my words. As fans, we're quite hospitable. And I think you'd be surprised as... like, for example, I think a lot of Pakistani fans these days are watching cricket, but they're not watching Pakistan cricket.
Yeah.
But you remember even that 04-05 series or whatever, when India came over here, the amount of support that they had...
Absolutely.
In the stadiums.
Yeah.
You had all of us over there holding up Indian flags because...
It wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
Right?
But when we went there, there's pin drop silence whenever Pakistan sort of does anything in the game.
Absolutely.
I think we're good fans. We've just been really frustrated.
Look, you're a one-sport nation, right?
It's also, I think, the political environment. I think
Yeah.
in Pakistan, for example, if somebody wore a Kohli jersey and went to a cricket stadium here in a Pakistan-India match, nobody would say anything to him.
Yeah.
Right? You wear a Pakistan jersey in an Indian stadium, as an Indian.
I think,
spicy. That's going to get, you might be arrested. Right? And we've seen this happen, right? People have been pro-Pakistan agar naare lag rahe hain after a match Kashmir mein ya Kashmiri students ko, they're having, little riots there and lynching these guys. So maybe we're too good fans. We're too accommodating. Do you think we should have a little bit of that stoning mentality at times? Team वापस आए तो we surround their houses like they do in India?
I think that's a bit much. But we should hold people to account.
Yeah.
So I think
absolutely
somewhere in between stoning their houses and whatever the other extreme is.
Using chote pebbles.
No stoning, no violence.
But like demanding it, like
demanding excellence, demanding effort, demanding these things. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we need to let go of this old kiji nahi chalo theek hai apne, that sort of mentality ke apne boys and ko har waqt wo karna hai. Wo obviously you can't do that.
Yeah.
If you want to maintain any kind of professionalism, any kind of...
मुझे जो issue होता है वो ये है कि
वो तो आप अपने दफ्तर में भी नहीं accept करते होंगे ना.
नहीं, exactly. Right. But I feel like this team or the team generally has played with our emotions so much कि हम वो जो jilted lover नहीं होता who's like really scared, like should I express my love and passion for this thing and I think what you're doing is you're making ultimately cricket less popular this way in the country,
and I think it's really detrimental to the players. I'm not sure it's necessarily the players' fault as much as it is the admin, the management, the coaching, whatever else. So I'm just gonna end this on a personal note. My son, he plays football at school, and it breaks my heart, right, when I see this, because he's a brilliant spinner, and I've worked really hard with him on like with natural swimmer talent. But alas, is cricket dying? I don't know if we can answer that right now. I think we still have hope. I think there's a way to turn this around. Is cricket dying?
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Omer, Shamir, it was wonderful talking to you. We are definitely going to have you guys back if you guys are willing to come back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Like and subscribe as always. Bye.